Hey guys, Nestler Magic here. Just want to make a quick video. A little bit snarky. I don't mean to be too rude with this. We just gotta kind of laugh at the situation together. You know, just like me wearing a pro-gun t-shirt to my parents' Christmas party today. You just gotta go with it. By the way, totally channeled my level 99 autism wizard powers and solved the word unscramble in a minute. I literally solved it as quickly as I could write and then won the top prize again for the third year in a row. I've got to say, being able to unscramble words really quickly is the dumbest superpower that anybody could ever have. Oh, and by the way, I have to make a video showing off the white elephant gift I got. If you're not familiar with white elephant and what that means, look it up. Not going to explain it. The hell's this video even about? Oh yeah, I went on Twitter and looked through my DMs, and everybody sent me a whole bunch of deck lists for the Deck Fixer series, and I had not one valid entry. I'm just gonna go ahead and blame myself because one, I'm too lazy to go rewatch the video I made requesting the decks to see what I left out, and two, I don't want to assume that people are this dumb. But then again, on the other hand, if you send me a deck list, the cards have to exist. Let's just throw that one out there first. They have to be real cards that exist. First freaking one, I look it up, I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. It's kind of like a tribal deck. Okay, I look up the first card because I'm like, oh, I know what all the cards do except for this one. Doesn't exist. There's no card called that. Where was this copied and pasted from? And the card name looked like it would exist. It didn't look like somebody was just joking around and putting in, oh, Donald Trump Planeswalker. I thought maybe it was a translation error, but the guy's English was perfect, so I don't know. And then we had about 10 people send me modern decks. Now, I thought the video was pretty clear. I mean, maybe not. Where I was like, okay, the reason I didn't make, this series was because, 9 sets being legal and standard is too much. You got to consider too many cards. It would be way harder. So I was just going to wait for everything to roll over. Plus, if I was like, oh, here's the deck fixed up and souped up, now you should run it, and then 4 weeks later, it's no longer standard legal, then what's the point? So I said, okay, I was waiting for standard to only have 5 sets in it. Okay, now send me a deck list. Well, what about that says send me a damn modern deck list? Then we had 3 people send me decks that had Shadows, Eldritch Moon, Oath of the Gatewatch, all those sets in it, BFZ. I'm like, are you a time traveler, or what version of standard are you playing? I swear, if anybody mentions Frontier in the comments section, I will drive to your house and slap you. Now, the other problem, and I could have worked around this, except this was in addition to other problems. A lot of people were not telling me why the deck didn't work, or how it was losing, what it wasn't doing. And, it's not that hard to look at the deck list and be like, oh, well, I see the weakness. I see why this wouldn't be reliable or predictable or whatever. Some people were turbo specific, it just keeps losing to this. Well, and a lot of people were like, this deck is perfect. I keep winning every single match with it, which is true. The deck list in that case was solid, but it keeps losing to Ramunap Red, Red Rush. I'm like, well, so does everything else. I mean, you have to restructure the whole deck and the entire strategy and just basically build a different deck in order for that deck to deal with red. Or I had a really good idea for a sideboard, but this isn't, sideboard fixing. It's deck fixing. So honestly, there's nothing wrong with the deck list. It's just Red Rush needs to be banned. I mean, it's really, that's all there is to it. So I'm yet to look through the YouTube messages, which I assume would be a little bit less prevalent than Twitter, but I could have sworn I got 20 submissions or something. I don't know. Hopefully I find something. But it's going to really suck if I have 0 valid decks to actually look through and do a video on and fix up a little bit and test and all that cool stuff. So if you have a standard deck with a fairly novel idea and strategy to it, because that's the other thing. Somebody's like, oh, I built a -1/-1 counter deck and it doesn't work. Well, that's because you basically built a worse version of the net deck. To make it the most powerful, you'd pretty much have to copy somebody else's work, because there's really only one way to build a -1/-1 counter deck, because there's only 12 cards that reference it, or that are good and playable that reference it. So if you have a fairly exotic, interesting deck that doesn't quite seem to be winning, or just an interesting idea in the deck, and maybe it's an all flyers deck or something, just anything good and salvageable, but that just doesn't seem to be winning. And, kudos to you if you can partially explain why, or at least what it loses to, or what it consistently isn't doing. So if you got something like that, send it on over, and I can almost guarantee at this point, just due to sheer numbers, that you'll get featured. And don't forget to specify if you'd like to remain anonymous or not, or if you have a nickname or whatever. And that's about it. So hopefully I can get that series going sometime this century. I'll see you guys next video.